Our last learning target is being able to solve practical problems. In these practical problems, we're going to have to be able to write an equation in order to solve. So in our first one, it says that Jack had $20 to spend on 6 candy bars. After buying them, he had $8 left. How much did each candy bar cost? So whenever we see that word each, that should be an indicator that we're going to have a variable. So if we have 6 candy bars, they cost however much each, that will be 6x. So our price will be multiplied by the amount that we have. And if he had $20 to spend, that's his starting amount, and you're taking away the cost of those candy bars. So you're going to subtract the 6x. And then the $8 that he has left is what remains once you do that left-hand side of the equation. So once we have an equation, we just have to solve for it. So this is a problem that we would have had in our first learning target, just put to words. So remember, our first step is to get rid of our constant. So we want to get rid of that 20. And 8 minus 20 is going to be negative 12. And then we need to divide by our coefficient. So our coefficient is negative 6. And x is equal to positive 2. So each candy bar cost $2. And our next example, at the book fair you bought books for $9 and 4 pencils. It doesn't tell you how much those 4 pencils cost. And you spent a total of $15. So your total, whatever it's equal to, is going to be 15. How much did each pencil cost? So that each pencil means you need to look at the 4 that was with your pencils and attach a variable to it. And you also bought 9 books. So those 9 books are added to your final cost. And then you solve. So remember, you get rid of your constant first. You're left with 4x, and 15 minus 9 is going to be 6. So you divide both sides by your coefficient of 4, and you get that x is equal to 1.5. So each pencil cost $1.50. And then our last 2 questions are involving algebra tiles. If you don't remember what the algebra tiles are representing, the empty ones represent 1 and x, positive versions, and then the filled in ones represent negative 1 and negative x. So these 2 bars represent 2x, and these 1, 2, 3, 4 bars represent 4x. And then the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes, because they're filled in, represent negative 8. And now I solve just like I would have solved in Learning Target 1 and 2. Because I have a variable on both sides of the equation and a constant only on one side, I want to get rid of that variable that's on the same side of the constant. So I want to get rid of that 4x. In order to do so, I just subtract, and I do that on both sides. When I do that, 2 minus 4x is negative 2x, and it's going to be equal to negative 8. And then I divide by my coefficient, and x, oops, that should be negative, and x is equal to 4. Make sure you're careful and you catch yourself just like I did if you forget to put the coefficient along with the negative sign or the positive sign that you're using. So you always want to make sure that you're keeping track of what's negative and what's positive so that you don't mess yourself up. And then our last example, we have 1, 2, 3x minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is equal to 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And we solve just like all the other problems. We add 6 to both sides, 3x is equal to 24. You divide by your coefficient, and x is equal to 8. If you want to check your work with these, what you can do is you can replace whatever your answer was with the algebra tiles. So if I take my first example, 2x equals 4x minus 8, I can, for every x bar, plug in 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first one, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for the second one. And then do the same thing on the right hand side. So for the first, each one, I'll put 4 boxes. For the first, for the second, for the third, for the fourth, and then I still have these negatives. And there's 8 of them. And then if you remember your 0 pairs, you cross out 0 pairs. And there's 8 on the left and 8 on the right. Or you can always just plug them into the equation that you found and check it that way. It's really up to you how you want to check your work. There are several different ways, but I know some of us are visual learners, and looking at these algebra tiles down here will be helpful.